So I see a lot of different angles that the media is running with to try to stay in Syria. If it's not Assad did the chemical attack on his own people, and we need to remove this evil dictator immediately for the sake of his own people. It's ISIS. It's going to get out of control, and it's gonna become a vacuum, like what happened in Afghanistan and Iraq, right? But these are two false comparisons. And also, for the first thing, Assad did not do a chemical attack on his own people. Like, if you believe that, you're honestly pretty stupid at this point, and you're easily swayed by people, because all you really need to do is look back into history, look at the previous attempts of the government to try to go into Syria. Like, there was the last gas attack that happened, which happened a week after Tillerson said that he was going to pull out of Syria. And this one happened, what do you know it, a week after Trump said that he wants to pull out of Syria. So clearly this is ISIS or a rebel faction within Syria who wants America to stay in and pummel Assad's forces so then ISIS can come in and take over. But, The Hill, they made an article. They're like, the myth of American victory in Syria. And they're like, the US government officials have increasingly argued that the Islamic State has been defeated, and the United States should pull out of Syria, shift its focus to state competitors like China and Russia, which they're correct. The U.S. National Security Strategy noted, we crushed Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, ISIS terrorists on the battlefields of Syria and Iraq. U.S. President Trump similarly remarked that United States under my administration has done a great job at the region of destroying ISIS. He's like, yet, but there are still like something like 5 to 12,000 Islamic fighters that remain in Syria, even though they've lost all of their territory. So since Trump has been in office, they have lost all of their territory, and this has happened because he stopped funding that CIA program that was giving millions and millions of dollars to the rebel forces. So once that stopped happening, Assad actually started winning and killing, like Assad in Russia, started killing a lot of ISIS members and actually started, taking back territory and stuff. So it's not a coincidence that when Trump cut that funding, that was the result. And Obama and stuff, they started that program and they knew that's what they were doing. Like the rebels that they call them, they're no better than Al Qaeda and ISIS. Like there's videos of the rebels cutting off the head of a 10-year-old boy. Good people don't do that, even if they're your enemy. Okay, that good people do not do that shit. So these are the types of humans, of individuals that the Obama administration and that were funding. And like I said, you have to be really stupid to think Assad did that to his own people. And like this article is trying to make the point that if he leaves now, it's going to end up like Iraq and shit. Like this is like one of the last paragraphs. It is time for the U.S. officials to stop declaring victory against the Islamic State and stop announcing their intention to leave Syria. We need to stay forever. Both the Bush and Obama administrations learned the hard way that declaring victory and withdrawing forces too early in a generational struggle against extremists is a fool's errand. So, see, a generational struggle. They want you to be in there for generations, apparently. They want you to be slowly rebuilding the country for a couple more decades, at the very least, right? Which is insane, okay? And they're putting this off. It's a false comparison. They're hoping that you don't know much about the differences between Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan, and you don't really need to know a lot, right? All you really need to know is that Saddam Hussein was killed, and their government was in complete shatters when America did pull out. So yes, that did create a vacuum for ISIS to fill, but Assad is still in power in Syria. So this is not the same case. If America is to leave, Assad will start to destroy ISIS, and it's just a matter of time before they will be destroyed. But what they're arguing, staying in, is going to have the reverse effect. Okay, they're going to start to regain territory. They're going to use American airstrikes to come in, destroy military facilities, and then ISIS is going to come in as like a ground troops to take it over. Because that is what they did last time with the last airstrikes. And I'm sure they recovered maybe some territory with these airstrikes. And people are saying like, oh, Trump, he's still working with Putin. He probably gave a heads up to those people. That's why nobody died. It's like, I hope he gave a heads up to those people. I honestly, I really hope he did, because if a bunch of Russians did die, and you guys do not want to start a conflict with Russia, and yes, Russia is much weaker and poorer, but when you back up a dog into a corner, they're going to bite. They're going to bite first, right? And they know that they are much weaker. And I'm not saying like trying to fearmonger, but if they push came to shove, they would be smart to make the first move, because they know they are definitely weaker. So why are we even pushing it to that point, right? It's insane. We do not need to do that, because Russia knows that all of these countries, like Macron is saying right now, he wants to go in and convince Trump to stay in Syria so then they can like get rid of Assad and they can rebuild Syria anew. Like, Macron is just insane, that guy. But yeah, like Russia knows that all of these countries do want to take them over, right? And all that's going to do is embolden Russia to be allies, make allies with China and all these other countries, and that's just going to create more division among people. Like, yes, it's good for politicians and rich fucking bureaucrats and people who run military complexes and shit, who make a lot of money off of selling weapons. Yeah, it's good for them to go into these countries and kill a lot of people and all this shit. But that is literally all that you're there for. It's not to save innocent children. Like, it's not to help people. And I hear people always make that emotional. Oh, so you want this ravenous, evil man to stay in power and gas children? You know what? It's like, if that really bothers you, you enlist and go and fight them, okay? Because it does bother me too, right? But if that were the case. But if like people, they just say a lot of words. They have no intention. They don't actually give a shit. Because it's like, they want to start wars and get rid of evil, bad men, but not one of these people want to volunteer for the army to go and shoot people directly. Like, this is what we've become so desensitized from war that we don't understand what it is, like what it actually entails. Like, it's horrible, it's bloody, it's terrible. Like, why people that I don't think they can really, they aren't fathoming what actually happens. So if people could actually do that, have a little bit of empathy and a little bit of balls to themselves, because if they can admit to themselves, like, hey, if I'm not willing to go out and shoot these people and do all this, then should we really be doing it? This is what I think a lot of people need to think in terms of government and having your government do things. Like, even like the death penalty, right? If you are not willing yourself to go and pull the trigger and put it in somebody's face and shoot them, right, for a certain cause, then you should not advocate for it, right? If you're not willing to go to the Middle East and get rid of Assad, the evil bad man, yourself, and put your life on the line instead of poor kids that they send, then go fuck yourself. Because this is what is angling to happen eventually. There's going to be probably massive conflicts, and then when that happens, all the dumb poor people are going to be put in the military to fight each other and kill each other. This is what happened. This has happened throughout all of history. It's not going to be the rich people who get to go and hide in bunkers, and all of their sons get to be generals and lieutenants and sergeants, and they're safe, away from the harm and danger, and they're sending your stupid sons and kids to go out and die in fucking droves and for useless fucking reasons. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm sick of these moral people that are like, oh, how could you be fine with that? It's like, okay, you join the military, but none of them. Whenever I say that, they go silent and they say nothing because nobody wants to put their money where their mouth is. But other than that, let's hope Trump is continuing to do what he's doing, because he did do those strikes, right? But it appears he is not pushing it any further, and he still wants to leave. And I think he gave one of like Nikki Haley shit because she was saying like something like, oh, we're gonna stay in for forever, right? It appears to me that he still wants to pull out. So hopefully he doesn't do what Hillary probably would be doing right now if she was in office. So I guess time will tell. But that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.